Hey, hey, hey.
Hey,
How's everybody doing tonight?
we already got to think Crazy Mad says we're late, but
Oh, yeah, we are. I'm
hey,
sorry, guys. We're a little late, but that's fine.
how come
We're
our
still...
thing, it only makes fun of me with the blue light special? How come there's nothing in there about you, being
What do you
old
mean?
and like you could easily have some old man yelling at kids on the lawn.
I
That
have
you're always
I have Chuck Norris
cranky.
punching. He is old.
You're not Chuck Norris. Get out
Yeah,
of
you're
here
Bob
with
Barker.
that.
You're Bob Barker.
I'll take that, dude.
All right.
Bob
Ooh,
Barker was amazing.
man. You guys hear my dogs? I'm really sorry about my dogs, but you hear all that howling? They must hear some cryptids out there. That's all I got to say. We got some cryptids in the house. I'll try to mute a little bit, but sheesh. That's rough. Well, tonight we have a special guest with us, and we're going to welcome him to the show. He is the publisher and the founder of Alterna Comics, and we're just so happy to have him on tonight to talk about his new project getting ready to launch. So if everybody would welcome Pete Simeti to this house, to the show, to the house, whatever.
To the house.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming. Who do we have in the chat tonight? Let's welcome.
Looks like we got Crazy Mad and Mo Biggs right now.
Yeah. So I don't think we've ever seen Ara Galinian.
No,
thank you for showing up. Ara Galinian. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks and welcome. We have Crazy Mad. Heyo, Crazy Mad. Thanks for coming. Who else do we have here? We have Mo Biggs.
Mo Biggs.
Mo Biggs. He says Dirk is the spoiler. It's true. I give spoilers all the time. What can I say?
Yeah, I know.
Now Murph's back to rein me in, so
yeah,
no fun for me anymore.
Gosh, you ruining stuff that's going to be like in the 10th comic book.
I can't help it, man. I want people to know what's going on. I want them to love our stuff. So
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, why not? What's it going to hurt? So we always do this first segment, welcoming everybody in the chat, thanking you all for joining us. And now we're going to move to the question of the week by Crazy Mad. We're going to have to give him an intro sometime. But question of the week, who wins in a fight, the Jersey Devil or the Beast of Bray Road?
This is easy. Nothing good comes out of Jersey. Come on.
How do you know this?
It's New Jersey. What are you? What's the issue here?
Okay.
I know you're from Ohio. I mean, being from PA, I've been to New Jersey more times. There's nothing.
Okay, that's what I have for the Jersey Devil.
That is the worst picture. It is so small.
Got to be the Jersey Devil because of the hockey team.
Yeah.
Got to be the Jersey Devil.
That's right. That's probably the best thing about it, right?
It was. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were pretty good back in the day.
Right.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were.
For like 5 to 8 years.
Right.
Well, when Gretzky was going, right? Weren't they big when Gretzky was on the Kings? Or
it was sort of. I mean, Gretzky didn't have a lot of love for the Devils. He called them a Mickey Mouse organization, but that was before they started, really being good and got Brodeur and Scott Stevens and the heyday.
Their devil actually looks like a devil, though. It don't look like this.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they changed it.
It's like a horse.
All right. Well, what about this? This is the Beast from Brave Road. Let me get it on there. So there you go. That's a Brave Road Beast.
The Jersey Devil has a really good origin story.
Oh, yeah?
As far as, being, born and just cursed child and kind of mutated into that thing. But
that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know much about that. That's awesome.
Beast of Bray Road, it's like a cool werewolfish creature.
Okay. Well, I think the Bray Road Beast might win, but we'll see. I don't know. It's a devil. If it's a devil, it may have more supernatural powers. You never know.
I feel like werewolf, just because so many werewolves are in CG that we've got to go.
We should pick that.
Right? Yeah.
Maybe.
No one's got any devils going on, do they?
I don't know. Mo says Beast because the Jersey Devil's the lamest cryptid in history.
I don't know if lamest. There's a couple worse.
Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Lame until, it's on the hood of your car one night.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not so lame.
Oh man. Hey, Barb's in the house, and we have Shadowpunk here. So thanks for joining us, Shadowpunk and Barb.
I honestly don't know either of their backstories, the Jersey Devil or the whatever the thing.
Yeah,
was,
I don't know
the
that
werewolf
much either.
thing.
Beast.
I mean, you know, I think just on sheer scariness right off the bat, it'd probably be the werewolf. I'd be most fearful of the werewolf. But
Well, it's kind of
as far as being ugly, I would say the Jersey Devil.
I mean, the Jersey Devil, the picture you had, it looked pretty scrawny and stuff. So I don't know what's the official. What's the official of what these both supposed to look like? Because that just looks like a regular werewolf. So
yeah,
you got to get a better picture of the Jersey Devil.
Jersey Devil.
That Jersey Devil picture is, you know, it's like stick figure Jersey Devil.
Oh,
I got this big budget Bray Road Beast picture going on.
Yeah.
And this kind of wood carving Jersey Devil from like 1872.
Yeah, he took like a napkin. Someone like little kid drew a napkin of the Jersey Devil. That's what he put on
wait. Let's see what this is. This is it.
Yeah, I went to images. It almost looks like a dragon in some pictures. Then someone has like a deer's head.
It's like a weird amalgamation of a bunch of different sort of animals.
Look at that. They're saying this man is claiming that to be the actual Jersey Devil.
See, that looks like a goat with wings, though, to me.
Well, that's what it is, right?
I don't know. Like the pictures I'm seeing here, it looks more like a dragon or a gargoyle, honestly, in a lot of these pictures.
I don't know what to say. I didn't see a lot of good pictures, to be honest. I don't think they were very good. Nothing scary or creepy.
Well, you definitely picked the original.
I tell you what, though, King Cryptid could kick all their asses.
Hey, there you go.
That's all I know.
Look at that. All right, let's look at that. Let's look at this. What I got.
Would they automatically be his enemy, or would he give them a couple of seconds to
maybe automatically, you know, and they do the thing where they beat each other up till they realize that they're on the same side or not.
Okay.
Now that's creepy.
Oh, look at that. That's awesome.
Now that guy.
Oh, yeah.
That guy's a tough customer.
Yeah, I love it. And let's get into that. I mean, we're gonna get into him and get to the bottom of this guy.
So what did we decide?
Okay, everybody picked their side. Yeah.
Or honestly, I'm going now to the Jersey Devil just because that picture is freaking awesome. Like that thing looks like a gargoyle to me, like a dragon gargoyle.
Yeah, I think
like that.
You could get creative with the Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
Than the Bray Road Beast.
Right. Yeah, if it's just a werewolf, like what are you gonna do? Like, right? It's been done.
Yeah. So Crazy Mad says, finally, Pete hits the point of the question of the week. Okay. All right. Well, so now let's get into it. We got King Cryptid getting ready to launch.
Yeah, very soon, right?
Yeah.
May 25th. May 25th.
Yeah, okay. I can't believe it's already May. This year's flying by.
I know, right? Goodness. It's
like
the longest 2 years ever.
No, really? Yeah, COVID's killed time.
Yeah, it's 2019 last month.
Yeah.
I'm going to share the sign-up page. I have that called up already.
Okay, sure.
There it is. So if you guys need or want to go sign up for King Cryptid, please go do so. It's on Indiegogo, getting ready to launch on May 25th.
So there's a secret perk plus at 500. There's a bonus. How close are you to 500?
We're very close. We're like 75 to 80 away. Ooh. And then I got the bonus today. The poster arrived today. A bunch of posters arrived today.
Oh, nice.
But this is an 11 by 17 poster here by Keir Covington.
If
you put me full screen, I can show it.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So this would be for everybody that pledges a physical perk.
That's gorgeous.
And you get this 11 by 17 poster here. See, he's got, let's see, so you got King Cryptid in the middle, and then you got, what am I? You got Brug, the swamp monster. We got the Granite Beast, and then we have the Behemoth, who is a humanoid moth cloned from the legendary genetic DNA of the Mothman.
That's awesome.
Ooh, very cool. I love it. Now, Mo says King Cryptid versus the Jersey Devil would likely be, well, it'd be like Godzilla versus Snarf. Snarf, snarf.
I don't know. Isn't Jersey Devil kind of tall too, though? I mean,
Yeah,
King Cryptid 7'2", 400 pounds, so he definitely has some height and weight on him. But it would Jersey Devil's got like some weirdness about him.
Why are we hating on Snarf?
I'm full screen too. This is great.
Yeah. I would hate. Oh, don't worry. I'm pulling you out. I'm pulling you out. It is your show. Don't worry. I have no problem putting you on the spotlight. That's for sure. No, but thank you for showing that poster. I love the way that looks. And
Kier did a fantastic job. And the thing is, he just was like, I made this for fun. Do whatever you want to do with it. I was like,
that's awesome.
You just made that.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you aware of what fun is, Kier? I'm like, you just made that for fun. Okay,
that's awesome.
He does amazing stuff all the time. He's doing issue 4 on the series too.
Oh, cool. So you have different artists on
each book's got a different artist. Yeah, issue 1's got Christian Rossi. Those with the Alterna readers out there, if you're familiar with Christian Rossi from Voidwalker and Trespasser, he did a great job on the cover. It came out on a Wednesday, number 10. And then Christian's also going to do the covers as well on Kier's work on issue 4. And then issue 2, I've got Nick Hunter on there. Nick is a phenomenal artist. Let me show some of that. We got something here where it's this was another for fun piece. These guys in their for fun pieces.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
really man.
Trying to crush King Cryptid.
I love it.
So he's on issue 2. It's a full black and white issue because he does such amazing line work. And it fits with the tone of the issue too.
Yeah, I love his version of King Cryptid, by the way.
Oh, it's great.
He is like, I think there was a part on Twitter, if you don't mind me showing it. You put a picture up on Twitter.
He does animations and whatnot too of King Cryptid all the time. And again, it's just funny. Just like pops these things in my inbox. And
that's awesome.
I'm blessed with these guys. It's been amazing working with them.
Did you always want different illustrators? Like, did you?
Yeah, I wanted a different artist every single issue. And of course, if people love, and I'm sure they will, the artists that are involved in these first 4, I'm sure we'll be having them back on future issues and things like that. But yeah, I wanted to try to get as many different artists in there as I could and kind of fit each story to what I thought was best for their artistic capabilities. And really play to their strengths as opposed to having them bend towards my scripts. If it's an artist that's really good, like with drawing kids, like Alex Jovich is really good with drawing kids. And we have an issue 3 that takes place in 1984 where a group of 4 friends meet King Cryptid in the woods as they go out searching for cryptids and whatnot one day. I thought Alex would do a great job with that. Now, if Alex they're all capable artists, but if Alex was doing like Nick's issue and Nick was doing Alex's issue, it would be kind of like, a reader would go, well, I wonder why he just didn't have this one do this one. So I want to make sure that the artist has a lot of fun and is in their wheelhouse as opposed to really making them kind of fight with the script a bit.
So what you're saying, each artist kind of goes with the script. With it still being an ongoing series, is each book in itself its own story where it doesn't go into the next? It's usually just
there's an overarching plot that connects all of them, and then certain issues that more directly, it's just like old school comics that make comics great. You have an editor's note that says to see this issue, to get a little bit more backstory on a certain plot. But for the most part, every issue is one and done. So someone can go in there, just like when I was a kid and I loved, every comic I picked up, but it would be like, 176 or 34 or 205, you're not like always having to start at 1. And if you didn't, you feel like, oh, well, that's it. I can't read this. I want someone to pick up whatever issue we're on. And if we have a mini series, a 2 or a 3-parter, it'll say, whatever the name of it is, like on issue 10 to 12, we'll have the plot Killer King. And Killer King's a 3-part little mini. And that's going to have part 1 of 3, part 2 of 3, but it'll still be issue 10, 11, 12, and things like that. But every single thing, it isn't going to be this one big, writing for the trade, and then the trade comes out, and all that nonsense that has killed comics and killed the fun of it, honestly. Every single issue, nice one and done story to enjoy. And hopefully the reason you want to read the next one is because you enjoyed the one you just read.
Right. Yeah. That's really cool. So Amanda says, who's the Beast of Bray? She's coming in a little late. So
it's a
Beast
werewolf,
of Bray Road. Yeah, it's like werewolf, Amanda. So
we think
I'm really looking forward for this new series. Welcome, Jefferson Roswell. Thank you for coming. And Crazy Mad says, "What's okay?" He's filling her in, and then basically a werewolf-looking creature. Everybody's talking to Amanda. Shadowpunk says, "Really nice artwork. Has a lot of depth."
Yeah, that artwork.
I agree. Awesome. I agree. It's looking fantastic. King Cryptid really did get me excited. I love the look of his crown and the way his face is shaped. And then to see how Nick Hunter draws it, man, it just got me so excited.
Oh, it's so cool. When he showed me the character sketches he was doing, I was like, man, you're making it look like Thundercats, which is amazing to me.
Yeah,
King Cryptid looks like he just stepped right out of an episode. And Lion-O's supposed to encounter him, and they're supposed to, square off, and they don't really know who's friend or foe. And it just get me right back to everything I love about stories and characters and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, with King Cryptid, I wanted something that, because at first it just sounds like King Cryptid, is he like the king of the cryptids? And he's not the king of the cryptids. What it is that like any other cryptid, people describe, it's like superheroes. They describe them visually, So it's like you see him, you see the silhouette, you only see like a little flash or a shadow or whatever. And what immediately stands out is the crown. And there's a crown of bone. And then the capish thing that he has. So if someone was to be like, what the hell was that? I don't know. It's looking some kind of a king thing. It's like a king cryptid, and that's how the name would come about. And that's how it comes about in the story too.
Oh, that's cool.
So for us,
like
he's he's King Cryptid, but that's not actually his real name. That's not the name that he goes by. King Cryptid is actually a cursed immortal. He's over 500 years old. And he was human at one point in time, but then something happened to him, and he became what he is now. His real name, or at least the name he can remember, is Crowan, Krowan. So that's the name that he likes to, still try to remember a little bit of his past. He can't remember a lot of his past because it's been so long, and cursed and everything kind of distorted his memory. But as far as when people see him and refer to him and this and that, Bigfoot. Oh, he's got a big foot, So it's that kind of thing with King Cryptid. You see him, the crown and the cape, and King Cryptid.
That's cool. Hey, we have Arrogant Ape and Good Stuff Comics Gator in the house. Gen X Catholic and 24 Eyes. Thank you guys for coming in.
Yeah, people are coming in quicker than I can hail.
Yeah, me too. Gen X Catholic says Pete has earned my loyalty and support.
Appreciate that. Nice.
Is awesome. So that's great. I think I love the origin story. And for me, I mean, there's a lot of cryptid creatures out there, but to come up with your own and to create something brand new, I think is a little bit difficult, So it's really cool to kind of make up your own lore. And
did you base his design off of anything? Was there anything that you?
I tell you, and I'm not lying, it's the creepiest, weirdest thing. All this stuff just comes to me, and I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like it's like that, that movie. What is that? Unbreakable. When they talk about tapping into the ether or whatever, or some other universe or something.
Yeah.
I don't do any. I know what I look like. I don't do any drugs. I don't really drink. All right. So
I know what I look like.
Oh. It wasn't none of that. All right. But what it was just basically, tapping into. I've always loved. I mean, when I was a little kid, we had a library in elementary school, like many do. And I would head right for the sci-fi books, right for the stuff about the Bermuda Triangle, right for the stuff about aliens, right for the always. If it wasn't comics, it was that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
If anything, I think that's why I loved comics so much, was because of all the creatures and monsters and the powers and all the supernaturalness of all of it. So with King Cryptid, it was just kind of me getting back to my roots of everything I love about comics, everything I loved when I was a kid. And as soon as one day the name came to me, King Cryptid, I woke up and I was like, let me just write it down. I don't know what the hell it means, but I was like, I kind of like the alliteration sound of it. All right.
That sounds cool. Yeah.
And it was maybe about 2 years ago when this had happened. I just wrote it down on a piece of paper and I put it somewhere of like, maybe that's a possible character one day. I could do something with it. I don't know what I'll do, because I never really get the chance to do my own thing at Alterna because of the publishing schedule and things like that, especially when we were with Diamond. Everything is so grueling and fast paced. You got to keep up with it. There's no time for me to do my own book. Now that we're not with Diamond, I do have that time. So that's why I'm able to do this stuff now. But anyway, so coming up with that name after a year of it sitting there, and I had just a paper that said character names. I was like, oh, I'll come up with something. And I never came up with something else. And a year later, it just still kept hitting me that I'm like, this name still does sound interesting to me.
Yeah.
And over the course of that year, I'd be building up backstory for this character, what they looked like, what they had been through. Why would it be called King Cryptid? Because it is ridiculous if he's like, I'm the king of the cryptids. It's kind of stupid. So it'd make more sense if it was something that you visually saw this thing and you would describe it the way you would describe Bigfoot and things like that. So that kind of stuck with me, that it's like, no, this should be something that is not his name, but it's a name that we refer to him as, treated as if this character was real and existed. And I'm up in New Hampshire, and we have all kinds of extraterrestrial, supernatural, paranormal phenomenon up here, a very long history. The first ever UFO photo was taken here, Mount Washington, back a long time ago. And then the first ever UFO abduction that's recorded was up in here.
Oh,
so
wow.
There's a lot of, I don't know if it's the granite. Granite's got some supernatural elements to it. I don't know if it's the concentration of that or what. But there's a lot of mystery up here and a lot of legend just in New England as well. They got the Bridgewater Triangle and things like that.
Right.
Have you seen anything yourself?
I've seen and heard all kinds of weird whatevers. And again, I don't do drugs. I don't know what I'd be like if I did. It's frightening enough. So these stories in their entirety start coming to me. The first story that came to me, of course, something about Mothman, and I was like, I want to do something with Mothman, but not Mothman. I don't want to have just every single cryptid that's ever known pops into this. I want to have an originalness to it.
Cool.
So that it's still based in something, and it seems familiar, but it's very unique and different and original all unto itself, because then you can grow this world, which is kind of like parallel to our own in a way, because it does take place on the earth in New Hampshire, places like that. And then there was characters that I laid Easter eggs for throughout covers of it. Came out on a Wednesday back in, I think it's either 2018 or 2019, I forget the years nowadays. But there's number 7 and number 15. So number 7 features the Granite Beast. I knew I wanted to do something with that kind of monster one day. And then, so that's the first appearance technically of the Granite Beast. It won't be issue 2 of King Cryptid. It came out on a Wednesday, number 7. Then there's number 15, which is Broog the Swamp Monster. He makes his first appearance there. By that point in time, I had already written down the name King Cryptid. I knew I wanted to do some kind of monster series, and an ongoing, every single thing self-contained for the most part, and following the adventures or misadventures of one specific character in their world. So I had a little more idea of what I wanted to do at that point. So I laid these Easter eggs throughout on these covers, but now I have the actual full-fledged main character. And Broog is in Bridgewater Triangle. He's this monster, this cryptid. It's in King Cryptid number 4. He's this cryptid that's been created from this seedy, kind of shadowy society that's been creating cryptids. And the ones that don't go so well, the experiments get dumped into the Bridgewater Triangle.
Nice.
And they end up creating, eventually, all of this life energy and this weirdness creates Broog the Swamp Monster. And that's kind of how he gets his power. That's what forms him. So we learn about that in issue 4. In issue 2, King Cryptid goes up against the Granite Beast. The Granite Beast is basically exactly arrogant ape. And I love all of that too. Goodness gracious. Some people say alternate history. I say secret history. So the Granite Beast is basically he's a descendant of an ancient rock beast. And these rock beasts, they come and they're basically on meteors that crash into the earth.
Cool.
And this is the mythos of the Granite Beast and other kind of rock beasts as well. So the Granite Beast descends from this meteor that crashed into the side of this mountain and created this wellspring, this kind of enchanted wellspring that also gave life to his ancient ancestor. But because of that, because of this living meteor that crashed into the side of this mountain that eventually King Cryptid made into his cave lair, his home, because of these properties as well as that magical kind of wellspring. The granite beast comes back and he's found his ancestral home, and now he wants it for himself. And he's declared King Cryptid as unworthy of being in it, as a trespasser. And he dukes it out with him. It's just, unfortunately for King Cryptid, he decided to duke it out with him on the night of a new moon. And because of that, King Cryptid's powers are at their lowest. His powers ebb and flow with the phases of the moon due to the enchanted moonstone that he has that was placed upon his crown of bone by a Wampanoag shaman back, I don't know, 18 something. So he basically is at his weakest. Now, even though he's at his weakest, he's still a pretty strong guy. He's still a very strong 7'2", 400-pound human at that point. So he could still, carry his weight. But we're talking about, this 2-ton, 20-foot tall granite beast. It's still going to be pretty tough. So King Cryptid's trying to outwit him. He's trying to throw him off a bit. He's trying to get him upset so he can make big sweeping moves and then duck out of the way and hide in the shadows. So he's trying to play it like that. Awesome. And hopefully he gets lucky and survives that issue. And of course he does, because it's issue 3 and issue 4 and 5 and I got 70 other issues. No. But you want to know more about what's going on here in terms of the origin of King Cryptid and this granite beast. And we find out about that. We find out about King Cryptid's powers, the moonstone, all that kind of stuff during the course of issue 2.
So is he like half alien then, since some of it's from the
granite beast? I guess you could say, he's from extraterrestrial bloodline. Okay. Because he's got the living meteor that crashed into the earth and merged with the granite rock in the mountain, and then eventually went on to create these spawn of the rock beast. So it's like I said, it's crazy because all these stories literally they beam into my brain. They'll be in there in their entirety. I'm not like, how do I flesh this out and what do I do? I'm more like, how do I keep up with writing them down? I've got easily 65 something issues where I've got 4 to 5 sentences of just writing it down so it doesn't leave and doesn't escape.
I was just going to give you an idea for something. In PA, there's this city they call it the Underground Hell, or it was a coal mining city and it went on fire, and so it's still on fire to this day underneath, and you can go into the town. I forget, maybe it's Hell.
I thought it was on the game. Isn't there a game that has to do with that?
I mean, it's real life. You could go on YouTube and watch people.
That's what made it
It still
popular.
burns all the time. But that'd be cool. You get a creature out of that. It's like the living hell that the coal's still on fire to this day.
Like a molten monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's the portal to hell in a whole different country.
Yeah. That one is woof.
Yeah. That thing is nasty.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're going to do with that thing. So, yeah, it's
back away slowly.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad you have an ongoing series, though. I feel like so many independent or Comicsgate, it's all like one book, and then they go on to something else. That's what I want.
I'm doing this the rest of my life. The rest of my life.
That's awesome.
And I'm so happy to be able to do it. I've been the happiest in comics right now than I've ever been, and I'm able to actually finally get into doing something, because I've written stories before. I had The Chair, which came out years ago, but The Chair was a story that I felt like, okay, I want to make this kind of story. Let me plot out, how do I make this kind of story? I started with the ending first. I knew what kind of story I wanted to tell. In a way, I knew what kind of story I felt like. It was one of those things. I made that story when I was 21, and I felt like, okay, let me do something that feels like no one else is doing this kind of thing right now, and now I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care if someone's done this before. I don't care if someone has done something similar. All I know is this is a story that I have to tell. This isn't a story that I want to tell. I'm not seeking out to make something or whatever in terms of it's got this kind of point, and this will happen, and that's how I want the reader to feel. I just want the reader to read it and hopefully have fun. Hopefully they have as much fun reading it as we're having making it, and that's all I think we could hope for every single issue. Other than that, the readers, they want to take the character. If anything, I love the aspect of it being a cryptid, because you take the character and run with it. Give me your interpretation. Let me see your cryptid sighting.
was going to say,
I love that kind of a thing.
There's other comic books out there that are kind of in the cryptid area. Would you ever take your guy over into someone else's book or have a crossover with anybody? Or
I mean, sure, yeah, I could see something like that happening at some point. I think it's all about what the readers want, as far as I'm concerned, anyway. You know, if that's something where we get to like issue 10 or 12 or whatever it is, and the readers are really familiar enough with the character, they like seeing them interact with some other character, and the people who create that character are open to it as well, because at Alterna it's creator owned. So I own King Cryptid. Alterna doesn't own King Cryptid. Same thing for every book at Alterna. Everyone at Alterna, we publish the books, but I don't own the books. Alterna doesn't own the books. I don't
just like Image.
It's just like Image, where it's 100% IP is owned always by the creator of that IP. So it's all up to the creator, though, what they want to do with it. So if the creator doesn't want to do a crossover, they don't do a crossover. If the creator doesn't want to make a t-shirt, they don't make a t-shirt. It's that kind of a thing. So there's good and bad with it in terms of being on the side of a reader. Maybe you want to see more merch or more kind of this or that or whatever. Yeah. But sometimes the creator's like, I don't really want to do that. And then some creators are full tilt, pedal to the metal with that kind of stuff. Like me, I love getting as much out of the characters as I possibly can for those that want it. If people don't want that kind of stuff, then we don't do that kind of stuff. But if people tell me, oh, Pete, what if you could do this? What if you could do that? Well, maybe one day we could. Maybe we could do it now. Maybe we could do it a year or 5 years from now. But I always pay attention to that stuff. But as far as the stories go, to me, it's all about making sure that you have these. And someone had mentioned, Crazy Matt said, what are you, George R.R. Martin with your main character?
Yeah, that's what he said.
You have no idea. It's seriously, there's so much stuff that there's backstory to things that I know that I'm probably never going to share on the page because it just would ruin the interesting mystery element of the character. But I know what it is, and I have to know what it is, so I know the character motivation. So it has to be real and treat it as such. Not just these characters do things willy-nilly and just because I said so. And then you start getting stories that don't feel like they have any heart to them. They don't make any sense, and you start getting characters that feel like you start getting you start getting characters that just feel like they're there to be there, and that's it. And why shouldn't you enjoy that they're there? You're the reader. You should just like it. If you're going to create it, do it in an effective kind of way that means something. Even if there's some kind of character that's in there that I didn't anticipate the reader really liking.
You never know, right?
Pay attention to that, and you see it picks up, then you could go, oh, okay, well, I don't just create any character willy-nilly, so I'm happy to kind of expound upon that character. You want more of that? Let's do more of that so we can have an issue down the road. Something that makes it easy, too, for me with having these self-contained issues, for the most part anyway, is that I can kind of play musical chairs a bit with it and move things around and pair it up with the right artist at the right time. So if there's an artist that's busy this year and can't do, because every single year I want to do 4 to 5 issues on a campaign and release 4 to 5 issues.
Nice.
So if there's a issue that can't be done with this specific artist this year, they're busy. I say, okay, let's do it for next year. And I hold off that issue for next year and I put another issue in its place. So it's nice and easy to just do stuff like that. But when you have to worry about, your 6-issue story arc and you got to get the same creative team and you got to do that, it becomes this very unfun experience. And then it takes the reader, I think, out of it too, because it's like anything else. As soon as you can pick up on the fact that they're not really having fun with this, they're not really having the best time, they're not enjoying it, they're really torturing the story, the character, whatever it may be, the reader really feels that. It's like eating food from someone who just hated making that food.
Right.
And it's like the same thing when you're reading that comic.
And excuse me, you have to dangle the carrot a little bit. You have to make them want to keep following that character. And so that mystery box, Kevin and I talk about this all the time, is you don't want to give everything away. And the mystique about especially a character like this is going to be paramount to us, to its success. So that makes a lot of sense. I love that. Crazy Matt says, one day, Dirk, we're going to have to sit down and do a stream on how we would fix Star Wars.
Yeah, take it back behind the yard and, give it a buckshot.
Oh, man.
That's about where it's at, because you might have to start over again, right?
mean,
just watch the 4, 5, and 6. That's how you fix it. That's what I do.
That's it.
Or you just stay away from the Skywalkers. Do something totally different. Stay in the Star Wars universe. Just do something.
Once again, that's one of the. I think that's exactly what we're talking about here. They gave away too much of the characters, went too far with them, and then eventually now we're sick of it. Now we hate it. We don't like where they went.
Yeah, you watch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the thing is, Lucas did it before Disney did. So everyone that's like, well, Disney ruined it. Kind of,
Yeah, he started it.
Yeah. As soon as it's like you had this big suspenseful, thing with Darth Vader, and he's like, no, I am your father. And it's like, well, now you watch 1, 2, and 3, and you're like, who gives a shit? I knew that for 3 things now.
Yeah, anyone that had to watch it in that order.
Right. We have Osgreat Sage. Thanks for coming, man. And Kier's in the house. Look at that.
Hey, Kier. Well, let me actually, I don't think I showed it to Kier yet because it arrived here an hour before. Kier, look what we got, man.
That poster looks awesome.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So talking about doing things for the fans, when's King going to get like a statue or an action figure?
Oh, sooner than later, I hope.
Nice. That'll be great.
Yeah. Also, here's Kier's work in full color on the cover of issue 4.
Yeah.
And the coloring was done by Christian Rossi.
Very cool.
Yeah. Great work.
So I was going to ask you, is the book going to be black and white?
No, full color. Some issues will be black and white. The whole series is pretty much, I mean, it's all ages as far as I'm concerned when we grew up with comics, but nowadays everything is way more specified. So all ages means something different nowadays. But
True.
I think the series is absolutely appropriate for any kid, 12 plus. Honestly, I would probably have read it when I was like 7. So I was reading funny, Fright Night when I was like 7. So it's one of those things where, of course, if you're a parent, use your discretion. But there's no strong language in King Cryptid. There's not really, gory gore. There's fearsome characters and action and intense moments and stuff like that. If anything, kids might not get some of the deeper subtext and the philosophical elements of King Cryptid, but if anything, I think that's what makes it great. And then they can reread it again as an adult and hopefully maybe get something from it. But there will be certain issues that are absolutely like all ages specified. And just like every other Alterna comic, we specify that in the barcode area. So you're able to know immediately, is this all ages? Is it young adult? Is it mature? Whatever it is. But King Cryptid will never have a mature issue. There's not going to be strong language or anything like that. It's
I love it.
Everything I love about comics and sci-fi and paranormal stuff and everything I've always loved is in this series. So if you're a fan of that kind of stuff too, I think you're really going to love it.
Yeah, I think we're missing some things for kids anyway. I think it'll be great to see something that's very intriguing for a young audience too. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim Cox, thanks for listening, man.
Hey.
Yeah, Kier says, I love it.
Yeah, it came out great.
Awesome. Yeah, I was looking at the black and whites you posted on Twitter, man, and I was loving the art. The way that the use of the black and white is what really got me, because I thought if they don't color this, it's great still. It was great black and white art. The gradients they were using and the way they were able to, I don't know how they did it. I don't know.
I tell them to be as old school as possible.
Okay.
So what it is I tell them I want strong inking and I want two-tone maybe on the flaps on colors. And then I go in there and I punch up what needs to be punched up, if anything needs to be punched up, which with this group, it's a rarity.
Nice.
So that's basically what I tell them to do, because otherwise, we're gonna get these modern comics that look like kind of a soupy mess in a way, where there's pencils. I guess you can call it pencils when they're just digital and they're loose and they're just kind of flowy. It's very painterly. Every comic is very painterly, and I love the comics back in the day that had that great inking and it had the coloring where. Maybe, even something like this where it's not, what the hell is this? It's a red sky. It's a red background. Yeah, because of the mood. Use the background coloring and accentuate the mood of the piece. It doesn't have to always just be this realistic representation.
Well, I mean, I've seen red skies, though. That does happen at certain times.
Well, if you've seen one that red, you got to run. But so we have the black and white issue, which is issue number 2. And like I said, Nick does tremendous. He does great color work too, but he does tremendous line work. And I thought, I have a black and white issue that I'd like to do, and mostly because it takes place the night of that new moon, and then it takes place with inside of that cave layer that King Cryptid has. Even if we did it in color, you'd be talking about maybe some blues and some grays. It wouldn't really add a lick of difference. But when you get that stark contrast, black and white, with this issue, especially with some moments in the issue as well, you get these kind of almost like horror moments where King Crypt is in the shadows or the Granite Beast is in the shadows, and you have these kind of elements that get a little suspenseful. But then you have also, because the only light inside the cave is from the big reflecting pool that's in there, basically, it lights up on the characters a certain way. And again, Nick is tremendous with his lights and his shadows and everything. His background's in animation. But he's super fast with art. He's already done with the art on the issue.
Wow.
Yeah, most of the art on the issues is actually done. So it's been great working with these guys, because then I go in there and I give them the story and set up the scene of each page and everything that's going to happen. And then I go in there later on and I adjust and put in the dialogue and the captions and things like that. It's kind of what people refer to back in the day as like the Marvel method. If you say that now, I would say, I don't know if you want to say the Marvel method.
Right.
Let's get a little further away from the Marvel method nowadays. So this is kind of the way that I've done it, where it doesn't really matter what the dialogue is, what the caption is. If I'm conveying the scene and
emotion,
and summarizing what's happening, what kind of emotion is in there in the characters, what's going on, and then hopefully it gives an image to the artist, and then they can do what they got to do, and then I'll work around that. It's been spectacular doing it so far, and all 4 artists have really enjoyed doing it this way too. So it's helped them to make the most out of every scene. And then if there's something that I'm like, oh, it has to be, I want this specific kind of panel or this specific look or this shot on this character at this moment, then I'll let them know that and I'll convey that. But otherwise, I think I've given less than 10 different pieces of feedback to all 4 artists in terms of what's been going on, because they've all done spectacular jobs.
So that's some of the gradient I was talking about in that first panel with King Cryptid on the left. Just how
his shoulder in the background.
Yeah, the shoulder I kind of understood, but the graininess in the background just looks gorgeous, and it really sets that mood. And I thought, man, this is just gorgeous as a black and white. You wouldn't have to color this ever, and it would still, I think, convey everything you're trying to convey. So I really love it.
Yeah, you'll be happy to know then this is a black and white issue, so it's staying this way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So Pete, you talked about a lot of comics that you read growing up. What were the books that you're into? Like, what's your favorite? What's your big, what were the things that you always kind of now and then were into?
I really loved a lot of Claremont's X-Men.
Oh yeah, I think that's the best written thing of anything ever.
Yeah, and I'm trying to put and I got one of these compliments from one of our readers saying that this brings me back to Claremont and Byrne.
Oh man,
and I was like, oh man,
Well, you sold me on that.
It feels. And when they were reading the comic, I was like, wow. So I'm trying to, I guess that's what I'm subconsciously trying to go for, because that's what I was basically raised on.
Yeah.
This kind of thing where, because we got thought bubbles in this. This is an old school kind of comic. This is a comic book reader's comic book.
Awesome.
This isn't shying away from being a comic. There's no virgin covers on here. There's no we're embarrassed of text on the cover. There's no we're embarrassed of thought balloons. So this is just all out comic book fun.
I love that.
But yeah, Claremont definitely in terms of writing, and John Byrne in art and writing. Just that kind of, it was that bit of like 70s, 80s, and into the 90s with the art styles of my favorite artists, probably talking about like Art Adams, a little bit of Jim Lee in there, Mark Silvestri, but of course all the classics. So we're talking about Byrne and Romita and Buscema, both of them. Man. So all that great stuff. But that's kind of, again, what I'm trying to really bring into King Cryptid here. And I thought about the other day, and looking at the artists on board, Christian Rossi has a little bit of, and I don't want to detract from anything of their skill set, but I've noticed, and a couple other people have noticed too, Christian Rossi has a little bit of like Mignola in him. Nick Hunter's got a little bit of like a Jim Lee-ish to his stuff.
That's interesting. Kevin just said that King Cryptid would fit in with Hellboy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we were talking before. I was
like, ooh,
yeah,
that's cool.
I felt like he could stand right next to Hellboy and be in his comic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then Kier's got a little bit of like an Art Adams-y mixed with McFarlane, kind of like McFarlane on Hulk, that kind of vibe.
Yeah, okay.
So it's like it's very strange, but it's almost like I've got these kind of artists, and I don't know if it's a subconscious thing or whatever, but I'm placing them in terms of these issues and reaching out to them, and their styles kind of not ape at all, because they're their own thing. But there are those subtle influences that you can see in there, and I think it speaks throughout their work, and nice. it makes it kind of feel a little bit more substantial, I guess, with these issues too. It doesn't just feel like this is something that's brand new. It doesn't just feel like something that, oh, this is an indie comic. This feels like this is something that's been around, like that it's been here, which I really want people to feel like when they read this kind of thing too, because King Cryptid is supposed to have already been here for like 500 something years. Was known for a while and then kind of receded a bit. And we're going to find out why. He kind of kept it himself. He kind of got out of not the spotlight necessarily, but more out of like the public consciousness, not like a Bigfoot or anything like that. And he kind of subverted a bit. And now he's coming back. And what's making him come back?
Okay.
So we're going to find out that throughout the series. But this book in general, in terms of the way that the story, the overall story is going to go, is it's going to get weird, and then it's going to get kind of strange, and then it's going to get even crazier than anyone ever thought it could possibly have been by the time we're like 10 years down the road. And I got enough issues already planned to get us there. So there's things that I talk about today and I've mentioned today that I'm not going to even really touch upon for 5 years from now, because I don't want to spoil that in the issue. So like when I'm talking about the Killer King plot, the Killer King plot revolves around something that happens with King Cryptid when he does not manage to get back to his cave lair and recharge during the night of a new moon. It's something that basically, when he was originally cursed, he was cursed to be this feral form. This feral form of King Cryptid is like a snarly, twisted, sinister-looking thing. His crown of bones very warped and twisted. He's got red eyes. He's ferocious, and he eats and kills everything in sight. Ooh. Now, King Cryptid, when he was a human being, was basically a noble person, a very kind person, and he got basically betrayed and cursed into this form. And because of that curse, his consciousness as a human was still there. So when he'd be doing these awful, horrible, ravenous killings for close to 100 years, this would go on. He was the beast of, I don't want to give away the area. I would give away a lot. But he was referred to as the beast of. And when he'd be doing these things, he'd be fully aware and be dying inside, riddled with guilt that he'd be doing these things to people, that because he loved people, he cared about people, and he'd be doing it. He'd be killing, and he killed kids, killed babies, killed women, children, men. He was a monster. Yeah, a monster.
Wow.
So he did this for 100 years until eventually he came upon this Wampanoag shaman that recognized through basically all the different lore and this and that, and traced back, this must be this person that this happened to. I thought this was just a story, that kind of a thing. So he brings back his humanity by giving him this enchanted moonstone, and the moonstone he places above his third eye. So if you look at it there, you can see that's where it's placed. Now that brings about and also subdues this kind of psychic curse that's been placed upon him, and it allows his humanity to come back. So with that, he's now on this road of redemption in a way. So he's spent the past 300 to 400 years trying to redeem himself in a way for the horrible things he's done. So exactly, arrogant.
I actually, that's the crazy thing. In my head, I was going to say King of Bel Air, and I didn't say it. Now I wish
waiting for when's King Cryptid going to get up and slap someone down.
Hey, you said he eats
That's
babies.
awesome.
Just don't have him eat a puppy. If he eats a puppy, you're not selling books. People will go and get, you know what I mean? So make sure that just doesn't happen.
Well, you know, like we hint at it. We're not necessarily going to like show him just like eating some baby back.
Yeah, you can't have babies. Just
you know,
all these baby bones next to his chair.
You know,
I want my baby back,
baby back. He's going to be lamenting the things that he's done.
Sure, yeah.
You know, because he's going to become kind of almost revered in a way among fellow cryptids, and then even some of the humans that he encounters and befriends eventually. And
awesome.
And he's got a real tough time with dealing with the fact that these people view him as a hero, because he's still punishing himself for the horrible things that, even though it wasn't under his control, he was basically in this form that he was meant to be in. He was meant to feel that anguish and pain of being this immortal monster that does these horrible things for forever, and being fully aware of that. So we're talking about an issue 10, 11, and 12, where, you know, we're doing 1 through 4. If I'm doing 4 to 5 issues a year, I'm not getting to 10, 11, and 12 until, you know, 2 or 3 years from now. So there's all these things that are mapped out, and I'm sorry to you know, be very excited about them in a way, because it tortures some of the readers out there.
Yeah,
but I have so many things. I have
it's
issues
so cool,
like 10
though,
years from now that I'm like, why can't I just tell everybody what they are?
Are you always
like
going to
just give them spoilers? It's okay.
Yeah. Are you always going to keep it as floppies? Or are you going to do like graphic novel? Are you ever going to do like an omnibus?
Well, we're always going to keep them as floppies, but then what's going to happen, and I'm going to be paying attention because of social media. It makes it so easy to do so, and also having a nice engagement with the readers, seeing what issues they tend to really enjoy, and then we can have almost like a best of King Cryptid trade kind of a thing. Yeah, because cool. Where it's self-contained, it'll feel weird if it's like, you know, we're just putting together like these first 5 issues and then the next 5 issues, and it just becomes kind of like, all right, I guess I don't have to read the floppies because they're just going to put all of them into trades, which is honestly where we're getting in the entire comic industry.
Yeah, you can kind of double dip though too when you do that.
Yeah, but it also takes away, I think, a lot of the fun, because I want it to be this fun, track the issues down. And, you know, if there's these issues that are character defining, if they're character defining issues, we'll put that into a trade and we'll compile them, put them together like years from now. But it's
I'd say, though, I would love for you to do a hardcover, oversized art. Like, those things are just amazing, especially with how great your art is, too.
Yeah. Kier says he's not a monster. Pete, he's my friend.
He's my friend.
Kier, I described feral King Cryptid one day, and Kier drew him up and knocked it out of the park, and he did such a great job with it. So Kier's going to be actually, I guess I'll spoil something. He's going to be drawing that Killer King 3-parter.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
So it's going to be a fun little mini series there in terms of within the series itself. But some people have asked, well, you know, will you do like side series of other characters if they become popular, or will you do like a one shot here or there? And everything's going to be in this series. I hate that about comics, where it became like, you know, read Action Comics and Adventures of Superman and Man of Steel and Superman, and then it's like, oh my, can you just put out Superman maybe 6 times a month? How about that?
Right.
You know, just stick to the one damn title. Yeah. And then everyone's reading the one title. And you don't have to put out these crazy lines. And they're like, well, we want them to buy across the board. And it's like, why are you giving yourself and the readers more work? Just put out the one and just tell all your stories.
Yep. Make them love the one. Yeah,
exactly. So the same thing with King Cryptid. You know, even if there's characters, like I said, that people really gravitate towards, I'll have a story in there and we'll put something for that character that plays them up a bit.
Fantastic.
So there's all kinds of elements here where we have villains set up. There's a large villainous organization. It's basically called Necrorg. It's really Necro. It's a New England cryptid research organization. Nice. And like all good villainous groups, it's anything other than the name. And they all pick these weird, ominous acronyms. They could pick anything. You know, like WHO is WHO. But does World Health Organization? You could have picked anything. Why is it WHO?
WHO.
you know, so it's like all these weird sort of things, you know, that get your brain turning. It's the same thing here. It's like, well, New England Cryptid Research Organization. Yeah, but when you you see those words? It's necro. What the hell does that mean? You guys don't know what necro means, right? So
I
that's
thought you said this was for all ages, but we got Baby Eaten and now Necro.
Oh, well, you know what? All these great comics were all ages as well, and
yeah,
look at how much subtext and the layers and everything that were in there. You know, Wolverine was relatively an all ages character, and he's chopping heads off and stabbing people in the gut and everything else. So yeah, exactly. I'm glad you showed that up. You know, Necro put this out the other day. If you read at the bottom, this message is provided by the New England Cryptid Research Organization. So they're already kind of telling people, hey, look, there's this thing in the White Mountains, and describing him and saying how dangerous he is. They don't want you to basically view King Cryptid as a good guy. What they're doing, what their means are here, they present themselves as they're basically doing research and cataloging and recording things. And just for some of they're doing that. But there's something else below the surface. And when readers discover what that is, they'll all of a sudden realize it's not even that. It's crazier than that. So there's elements that you go deeper and deeper in this organization that start to get real gnarly. So it gets very weird, but we're talking years down the road in terms of readers discovering this sort of stuff and exactly the specifics of it.
Well,
but all these things are layered in there.
Even because you said your background, I'm guessing that the King is going to be going through different physical features as the book goes along, right? He'll have different.
When he's when he
kind of like how the Hulk did, and I mean, of course, Wolverine has
when he becomes like feral King Cryptid. Well, so on the night of a full moon, King Cryptid is almost unstoppable. He's unbelievably powerful on the night of a full moon. His supernatural, physical, and psychic abilities kind of wax and wane with the moon. But on a new moon, if he does not get back to that cave and he does not get back into that pool, he will turn into this feral creature again that goes on a killing spree essentially until he can recharge, which is usually about a 24-hour cycle. So during that time, it's one of those, if he doesn't make it back, he's going to hope that someone that he trusts is just chaining him down and not letting him go out there and do crazy things, and hope that he can actually get the moonlight once again to restore that moonstone and that enchantment. Because it's not a cure-all. It's just kind of more like this is going to keep you as long as you can have it recharged by the moon. You'll be okay. But in terms of the new moon, there's no light to restore the power of that moonstone, and now he's got to go and he seeks out that cave, which is powered essentially from that living meteor, that ancient rock beast that kind of settled and crashed in there. That's cool. The minerals and elements of that created this pool, and that over time it created this thing that sustains him.
It sucks though. He can't really go on vacation anywhere though.
Right? Absolutely not. You can't.
He's got to stay there. Yeah. He's got to stay in Bel Air.
Yeah, you can't take him anywhere. Well, especially if it's it's one thing if it's just on the night of a new moon. Just make sure it's not. It's like the opposite of a werewolf. On the night of a full moon, chain him and let him come out. But on the night of a new moon with King Cryptid, just keep him at home. Let him stay in the cave. Don't let him come out. Be like, you take your bath, you have a good time, put some candles for you.
That's awesome.
Have a nice, relaxing soak. Don't go out there adventuring.
That's too good.
If your screams and cries for help, just stay in the cave. Let that person die. Don't worry about it.
So Arrogant Ape says, I remember when the New 52 first came out, DC was like, we're starting over to make it easier for new readers. Then they released Batman the Dark Knight, and Batman Detective Comics.
And now there's like 75 Batman, and DC Comics is literally just Detective Comics now, the way it used to be Detective Comics.
Yeah, all at the same friggin' time, man. That's what he says. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy Mad says, so it's a period piece?
The thing is that King Cryptid, I am going to have a bunch of flashback style issues too because of his history, and he's so old. So there are going to be certain issues that do take place at certain points in time. There's going to be issues that take place during the Revolutionary War, during the Civil War, because he's lived through these types of time periods. There's going to be other issues where he actually transports through time and goes to a completely different place.
That's cool.
There's all kinds of. We're going to touch upon. There's no holds barred with King Cryptid in terms of what could happen in this series. But
very nice.
At the core of it, it's all about making sure that it grounds it back to the characters, to the universe unto itself, and that it doesn't get bogged down to, like, if we do a time travel episode thing, it's not going to be like, well, now he'll never ever come back, and it's going to keep going to like this parallel universe and this parallel thing, and then this and it's going to become this overly complicated mess that way.
What was that show called? Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap. He's never going to start like leaping, and King Cryptid's like in the body of a woman now, and he looks in the mirror, he's like, what the hell? I'm in his dress. There's gonna be a lot of fun stuff throughout the series, but it's always going to be focused on that action, adventure, sci-fi element.
You're gonna have him meet baby Hitler, aren't you?
Oh no, no way. Well, if you do that, he's just eating a baby at that point.
Right?
He eats babies, so.
Well, I guess it's not his fault if he doesn't get charged up during the new moon. Then all bets are off.
That's a lot of pressure to put on a new character, Kevin.
That's cool though that he's been around so long.
The thing is, you do that, and then all of a sudden, baby something or other becomes like the new baby Hitler.
Yeah. It's all his fault because he didn't eat him.
Yeah, he's like worse than Hitler.
And then he's like, I can't eat all these damn babies. Come on, you guys got to help. You guys got to start eating some of these babies with me.
Arrogant Ape says it's yes, Queen Cryptid.
Oh my god,
love it.
Yes, oh my Queen. God, that's hilarious.
Oh,
too good.
Gracious.
Oh, fantastic.
So it's a lot of fun with this. The first issue, we've got the Behemoth, we've got the Cryptid bounty hunter, Victor Lugo. He plays an important element in the whole series and has a lot of transformations throughout the series. The second issue, we've got the Granite Beast. The third issue, we've got the four friends that meet King Cryptid in the White Mountains one day when they're going out cryptid hunting on the anniversary of the night of the Betty and Barney Hill abduction, September 19th of 1984 is when they're doing it. It's the 23rd anniversary of that. And then the fourth issue, we have King Cryptid going up against Brug the Swamp Monster after a cryptozoologist team kind of runs up against him. They're doing research in the Bridgewater Triangle area at the Bridgewater Swamp in Massachusetts, for those that don't know. And they come across Brug the Swamp Monster. The cryptozoologist team, he kind of befriends them, and they become more of a kind of, not every single issue, but like at least one every 3 or 4 issues, we're going to see them and run into those characters again. So we're kind of setting up the world, introducing the readers to a bunch of characters, but also laying down a lot of plot elements and things like that for what's to come.
Super cool.
Very cool.
So is he cursed, or does that alien stuff mix with his human DNA? And so he actually is not like 100% human anymore, or is it more just like?
Well, there's no real alien stuff with King Cryptid.
Okay.
So he's a cursed human. He got a curse placed upon him that warped him into this creature.
Okay.
And we kind of touch upon some of his origin in the Killer King mini little, not a crossover, but it's a little mini series thing where we talk about basically him recounting and retelling his first 100 years there being cursed, and we kind of established some of it based on his memories. And his memories, again, they're kind of foggy, they're a little distorted, so we don't get the full and clear picture, but we get enough to reach some kind of concise, okay, this is sort of what happened with him. But over time, through different bits and whatnot, I think the readers will be able to piece together some of the puzzles of King Cryptid's past. But we're never going to do anything that's just flat out like, here's the origin of King Cryptid. His name used to be James Crowan.
Well, last week we were talking about the difference between fantasy and sci-fi. So it seems like you definitely sci-fi, but then you kind of have supernatural stuff too. So do you feel like yours is fantasy and sci-fi, or where do you feel?
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, there's definitely elements of fantasy as well in this, because of the creatures and some of the other storylines we get into. And there's magic and there's elements like that too. So yeah, you could definitely say there's elements of fantasy to this.
Very cool. I love it. So Heroinberg showed up. Hey man, thanks for stopping by. So Harrenberg says, we were just down in southern West Virginia for a Comic-Con and found out that they have several other cryptids in that state other than the Mothman, like the Flatwoods Monster and Sheep Squatch. Yeah, holy shit, what is that? Sheep Squatch. I'm going to have to look that one up. I'll have to find
I've never heard of that.
No, I have never heard of it, ever.
Is he like a shepherd of the Squatches? He like rounds them all up?
I'm picturing like a giant 8-foot tall sheep, just standing on its hind legs and like jacked. He's like, brr, brr.
Oh,
you just give it a brr in the distance,
Yeah.
Like,
oh man,
it is amazing though. Like every area has its creatures and monsters, and
it's pretty amazing. I mean, I
think definitely some of it is real. I really do.
Yeah,
I think there is some supernatural stuff, especially at night in the woods. Like there's definitely
about 2 miles from here where I live, it's like one of the biggest sightings, like areas for Sasquatch. So people come from all over to this area to try to find Sasquatch.
What I always love about Sasquatch too is when people talk about him sometimes, that when they're not familiar enough and they've just kind of heard, Bigfoot, they think like Bigfoot's literally like this one thing, like he's just Mr. Bigfoot, and they think, well, how can Mr. Bigfoot be here and there and everywhere? How can Mr. Bigfoot be in 500 places? And it's like, well, maybe there's 500 Bigfoots.
That's true.
Maybe it's not literally just the one.
Yeah.
It's like if you see like a dog somewhere, let's say you just see a black dog every town you go to. How could that one black dog be all over the damn earth? It's like, maybe there's a whole bunch.
Maybe so. Maybe.
And then it's like,
just maybe.
Definitely seems like there's areas where there's more of them, though. You ever watch that show? But that show, I'll never forget that one guy that was the most ridiculous. He literally said he saw on the show a duck in a pond, and the Squatch hand come out of the water, take the duck, and eat the duck. And I'm like, how did you know it was underwater or that it ate the duck? I guess it's freaking ridiculous.
He said it's getting squatchy.
It's getting
squatchy in the water.
That's just Swampy Jim. He loves duck every now and then.
Oh my god!
He could just be underwater forever, like just chill.
Yeah.
Oh man. Harrenberg says, "Hail, Murph and Dirk, duke it out. We met the incredible Bad Bug Comics, Mike and Alice Tenner from Buckley, West Virginia, and they had some cryptid stuff. Super great books from those guys. Oh, very cool.
Nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, Harry and the Hendersons with the McDonald's.
There's only one of them.
Yep.
But
that's awesome.
I prefer to think that there's some kind of wonder still, not just in the world, but in the universe itself.
Yeah, me too.
Thinking that like, we're like the only things, and thinking that like there's nothing more than what we know. I think as soon as you go down that road, it just feels like it gets very strange, because 100 years ago, if you were to say, well, 100 years ago, they only knew what they knew, and that was the whole world, and that was all of existence. Well, you're talking about then a lot of actual real animals and places and whatnot that we know today, and think like, oh, you never knew of that. Well, at one point in time, they didn't. So as soon as you start closing yourself off from the possibilities, it becomes a very, very weird and small world in a bad way. I think so too. And it makes people sound really stupid. You know what I mean? It makes people sound like, well, they were less intelligent back then. And I'm like, were they though? Yeah. I don't think they were that less intelligent.
They all build their own houses. Are you kidding me?
Seriously. Exactly. Yeah. Goodness.
The only thing I don't believe in green aliens. Like, I don't believe that's the only thing I don't believe in.
Yeah, they're gray. Exactly.
No, okay, green or gray. Green or gray aliens, I don't believe in. I don't. The weird buggy
I agree
looking.
With Pete, man. I agree with Pete.
They're gray. That's awesome.
Arrogant Ape says, imagine the guy.
Everyone knows they're gray.
That's too good. Arrogant Ape says, imagine the male. Imagine the male a guy with the last name Bigfoot would get. Yeah.
I don't know why that tongue tied you. He put that pretty simple. Like that was.
He did, and I totally read it wrong. Like 5 times.
I think you thought he was probably talking about like the male guy, like the mailman.
Yes. That's where my head
imagine the male guy with the last name of Bigfoot.
Yes. That's
like
where
you
I
keep like wanting it to be that, and it's like that's not what it is.
No aliens explain cattle mutilation.
Wait.
So
he put that wrong, right? Or is he making fun of me by
no,
saying?
I think he's saying there's cattle mutilation, and how do
because
you
of aliens?
It? Yeah. So welcome, Randy.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well,
for
I don't
coming.
know if there's the whatever the ones. I mean, there's definitely something somewhere. That's all I know.
Yeah,
I mean, it could be an animal that doesn't want to eat, right? I mean, there's animals that probably just kill to kill, right? Maybe.
No, well, if you ever, I mean, I don't recommend looking this stuff up, but it's seriously like laser precision level of cutting.
Oh, the cow mutilization?
Yeah. Like they'll just be missing like half their face, and it's cauterized completely, and it's just no blood on the animal. There's no blood on the ground. There's nothing anywhere, and there's like the tongue's removed from the inside out, and there's like all kinds of different weird stuff that happens.
What?
To several different kinds of animals, but most likely it's usually a cow. It's usually
how often does this happen?
I don't know what it is. It happened a lot during the 70s.
Yep. I've heard a lot about
it. There's a lot of crazy, alien type of stuff that occurs during and after all the nuclear stuff that's occurred. In the world.
Well, do you realize how many nukes went off? Like,
it's a lot. It wasn't like people think it's like 2 bombs.
Yeah,
it's like no, it's
a lot.
Yeah. Goodness.
Yeah,
climate change, though, right?
Yeah, right.
I wonder who changed it.
Because there's a video you can watch,
like
the world map of where they like had bombs go off, and it's because I thought it was just like 2, and no, it's like 600. Like,
it's nuts.
It's unbelievable.
What the hell were they doing? Like, you don't exist that many.
Yeah,
they were playing, man. That's like kids in a candy store. Could you imagine?
Yep.
So imagine the mail a mailman would get. Oh, a mailman would guy get from having big feet. He's messing me up.
Eric is writing these as simple.
I know. Okay, read it, Kevin. Read it for me.
That one's a little bit.
A mailman would guy get from having.
See,
big
it
feet.
Was messed up.
Well, the first one was it. I think he did it though to help you this time.
He
the normal way
missed it.
Yeah, he's admitting it. Dear Penthouse, we started out squatching. That's awesome. He goes, sorry, I'm messing with you on that one. Oh, boy. Arrogant ape.
I didn't know that cow mutilations. I thought it happened like at one time thing.
I don't recommend looking it up. There's a lot of them.
But it's like laser cuts. Like
it's unexplainable.
Yeah.
That's all I don't know who did it. I don't know what did it, but I can't imagine.
It's not like some kids have like a laser.
Oh no. It's if they got a laser, like shit, what kind of laser is that? Like Tesla give you that thing, kid? It's like that kind of a laser. Yeah, it's like a lightsaber cut into these cows.
How do people usually explain it? Just straight up aliens? Is that the only explanation?
People usually say that kind of a thing because there's other kinds of markings within the field and things like that have been shown over time. But it's a lot of stuff that just like can't be explained, no matter what it is, whether you think it's aliens or not. It's kind of insane.
Very sensitive areas.
You think though we'd find humans like that?
Yeah, the only other thing that it could possibly be is human beings with alien tech that are trying to do like a psyop on humans, thinking that aliens are these horrifying, awful things, and doing these weird things to animals and even people. And there's cases of that too, and bringing that kind of thing up. But I mean, I'm like a deep diver into all the weird everything, and that's why I think I probably opened up something in my mind, and that's why I'm getting beamed with these crazy cryptid stories now.
It's great, good for us. That's what I gotta say.
Turn it into something fun.
You're gonna end up like the guy in Independence Day where they start talking through them, and they're like, "What do you want us to do?" Die. They have the guy by the neck.
Probably 2 years away from that.
That's fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
They'll be like, awesome. Yeah, that's Crazy Pete. He lives in the woods. You go up to him, you get too close, he's just like, we don't know what happened, but he made
like a Nebuchadnezzar feel, you know what I mean?
It's like, what happened to what did he do? He made comics. Oh, I understand. Sooner or later.
Oh, that's awesome. Too good. Well, awesome. So we've been going a little bit. We
usually go over an hour.
But we're having a good time, so I didn't care. But if you guys have not signed up for King Cryptid yet,
definitely want to get that bonus item too. Yeah.
Heck yes.
Yeah, I'm ready. No matter what you back, as long as you back a physical perk, you get that poster, bonus poster.
I'm going to double check and make sure I signed up for sure.
Yeah.
I think I did, but I want to make sure I did.
Yeah, I think I did too. A long time
Crazy Mad, they already don't feed the Crazy Comics guy. That's part of the problem.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Hail Pete, Murph, and Dirk signed for Casey and Camp.
You were afraid to read his thing, weren't you?
No, I just had to read it. That's all. Although he did make me waver a little bit. I second guessed myself just a little bit. 500. Yeah, no doubt, man. Let's get him to 500 signups. Let's go. King Cryptid looks cool. Hail.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. Also, something too that's going to be free for all the backers, the physical perk backers, because if you're getting the digital versions, we're not shipping you anything, but you can get the digital plus a physical item, and then you still count for these things. But every physical perk backer gets the King Cryptid trading card, which is number 8 in the Alterna series. Ooh. Featuring art by Christian Rossi.
Nice, the stats.
And then we got stats here. So his strength is at a 6, his speed's at a 5, his endurance is at a 6, fighting ability is at a 4. Energy blasts are at a 3 because he's got psychic power, and then intelligence is at a 6. So you can read this, get a little bit of info about King Cryptid as well, and that's going to be for every single backer that pledges for a physical perk.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember getting those from Marvel when I was a kid. Those were awesome.
Yeah,
to see, like what character would be and.
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun with the Alterna series. We've got a whole bunch of cards on there right now, and then they kind of make like a puzzle background when they all connect and everything.
Oh,
that's great.
But yeah, people can get these as being a backer with the physical, any physical perk on any of the campaigns that Alterna does. And then, so we got all these right now, and then they all connect with the background images. Let me see if I could just get some that loosely connect.
Very
like
cool.
that.
Yeah.
And then
that's really cool.
Sync up and stuff. So. Something like that.
That's awesome.
Man, that's exactly how those cards were, though. Exactly. I forget it. I don't know if they were tops or Fleer, but I feel like it was like 91 or maybe 92.
Oh yeah, it was Impel.
Oh, Impel. Crap! Yeah.
Fleer Ultra later came on and did some higher end stuff with them, and then they had like the Marvel Flare series. That stuff was crazy.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
they were all like laminated and super thick, and they came in like a little cigarette cardboard box thing.
Yeah,
crazy.
Oh, I loved collecting that stuff. That was great.
But I love this because you learned about the characters, you learned about the comics, and then you wanted to seek out those comics. You know, it made it fun. Comics is missing so much fun that used to be there. So hopefully with stuff like King Cryptid and some of the stuff we're doing at Alterna, I think there's a lot of great indie stuff, whether it's indie, Comicsgate, whatever it is. Comicsgate's indie as well, of course. But there's so much fun coming back into comics. I love seeing it. It's just, it's fantastic to see it all over again. It reminds me, and I've said this before, it feels like the creative explosion that occurred in the 60s and then in the 90s. And lo and behold, 30 years after the 90s, what's that? The 2020s.
Yep.
So it's every 30 years we get this creative explosion that occurs. And that's I think we're just at the start of it.
Well, you know what it probably is because those kids grow up and then they're in their 30s.
Yeah, so, you get this generational thing that occurs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I mean, that's why the superhero movies make money. It's because we're all adults and have money now. That's why it's...
And when they stop making money, goodness gracious, that's going to be rough. That's going to be rough. But, you know, when they stop, all of a sudden, I think what's going to happen is people are going to turn to all the amazing creative indie stuff that's been out there. And they go, oh, wow, this stuff's way better than this other junk that's been shoved down our throats the past 10 years now.
Yeah,
because I think we're there. I think in about 5 to 10 years, it's going to get real rough. And it's going to start looking gloomy for those superhero movies. And then by then, the comic industry, in terms of those superhero comics, I don't know if they can't get their act together, which there's no sign saying that they will.
No.
People are going to look towards something. And it's going to be all of these other people that are literally, you know, not the cover band, you know, because everyone right now in mainstream comics is the cover band.
I love it, dude. I love that you're putting it that way. I love it.
They're all like, I can't wait to pretend to play someone else's songs, man. Yep. It's like, why don't you make your own damn songs?
Yes, exactly.
Or they go, why can't comics be treated just like books? Because in books, they don't just rewrite the same book 400 times.
Right.
That someone else made. You know, they don't just keep doing like Lord of the Rings. They don't just keep doing every single thing Stephen King did. They don't just keep, you know, they don't just keep rewriting and waiting to jump on board and hopefully I get hired to work for the bigger book property that gets made. You know, they keep making new books. And in comics, when we make new comics, for some reason, this industry has everything backwards that every other industry doesn't do. And they all seem to prosper from putting out new and original content, as opposed to trying to come up with a creative spin to make the old crap seem like new crap. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
But that's why I think eventually we're going to see this push towards people understanding and recognizing. We're already kind of seeing it. It's starting.
I agree.
Seeing this kind of new wave of everything going like, oh, wow, straight from the creator. You know, this is like being back in the 60s and reading Stan and Jack and everything like that, you know.
It's awesome. And it feels good to be a part of it. You know what I mean? It really does. I feel like I've been somebody that's always kind of plowed my own path, you know, marched to the beat of my own drum, I guess you could say. And that's what my band does. And I feel like that's what Kevin and I are doing. And we're part of this bigger movement that's doing the same thing. And it's good. It's just a great feeling. You know what I mean? Creators are getting their due. It's not.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's scary as all hell, you know, and that's why a lot of people are really intimidated by it, because it's, you know, you can go down that road that's constantly tread time and time again, and it looks safe and it's nice and it's well lit, and you know there's some bumps and whatnot, but you know lots of other people took it, so it shouldn't be so bad. Or you can go down the scary dark path in the woods, you know, and a lot of people look at that and they go, shit, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
that looks horrible, you know. And then you get the indie creators and the entrepreneurs out there that are like, no, let's do that. Let's see what the hell's down there, you know. And that's what we're at right now, and I think it's exciting. I think that kind of thing is it just makes you feel exactly. They get it.
My cat.
it makes you feel alive, you know.
Man.
And it gets being readers excited too.
There's nothing like being creative. Like that is so. To me, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, every day you start out with a challenge to meet, you know, as opposed to trying to play with like somebody else's toys. You got like the big box of Legos. You're like, hell with buying those other toys. I'll make my own damn toys, you know?
Hell yeah, man.
And that's the fun of it. And I think a lot of those people that speaks to people out there that are intrepid, that do seek truly new and unique things and get excited by that, you know, not just the same retreading of whatever someone else's new spin, but something new entirely. I think this kind of stuff speaks to them. And we're at a place in time where between the internet and crowdfunding and everything else, and you can make your own website and have your own place to sell your stuff. I mean, Alterna it's been over 2 years now. We haven't been with Diamond or any other distributor. Wow. And this has been the best 2 years we've ever had. And these 2 years have been horrible in every other way. So it feels really bad being like, I'm celebrating the past 2 years, because the past 2 years have sucked. But in terms of Alterna, in terms of our creative output, in terms of the readers that we have, in terms of the campaigns and how they've been doing it, it's the best 2 years we've ever had. Better. Every campaign has done 4 to 6 times better than any purchase order we ever got through Diamond.
Wow.
So like you can imagine, and we weren't even like scraping the bottom of the barrel with Diamond. So you can imagine like the comic industry's hurting.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's momentum or flow, or do you think it's just a natural progression? Or are you guys doing something different each time?
I think it's just kind of trying to build upon things, you know, and like certain campaigns won't, like the fall campaign raised over 30,000, and this campaign is going to probably hit around 15. But this campaign has 6 books. The fall campaign had 10. And also we introduced the trading cards with the new binders and everything else. And those were a huge hit. So there's a massive amount of money that was raised from that product line being introduced. Whereas like the spring campaign's a little more closer to like kind of just like the comics for the most part. So to look at that and compare that and go, oh, well, you know, that's probably where all that money came from. You know, that's why it's like half of the amount. So when I see that, it doesn't really worry me. What I want to see is constantly we're hitting 500 to 600 backers, which we've been doing every single time. And then when we get books on the website, we get a bunch of readers that don't really care too much for crowdfunding, which is perfectly fine. Sure. And then they'll order the books directly on the site. And so you can pre-order the books and get some bonuses like the trading cards and whatnot, or you can just wait till they come out on the site after all the backers have received their books and then just get them right on the site and we ship it out the next day. We never had that kind of flexibility or that kind of, I guess, attentiveness in a way with Diamond. They kind of were like, yeah, we know you just had like 1,000 reorders on 4 titles, but we don't really feel like sending that purchase order to you. Sure. And we went through that all the time. We lost about 16,000 reorders through Diamond in about almost 2 years.
That's wow.
Yeah, and like, I kind of shudder to say like we lost it, because who definitely lost it was the comic shop.
Yeah.
As far as us, like maybe about after 3 months of losing a lot of reorders and seeing them just auto cancel, and that Diamond didn't want to send anything to us, we started selling direct. So if anything, I guess I have everything to thank for all this was just because of Diamond, because they put us in such a situation that made us go, you know what? Thanks, but no thanks. We're going to do this way. And this way has been so much better, but I never would have arrived at that if we didn't get put through the ringer at Diamond. So everything happens for a reason. I'm not really bitter about the Diamond thing at this point, because now it's just, it came out the way it was supposed to be. So
yes.
Yeah. I think it's fantastic, man. It's great to see it. Great to see people being successful.
Yeah, I love it. I love nothing more than seeing a lot of the creators out there doing well with their books and having people love comics, talk about comics, and all the great stories and great characters that are being made. Everyone's, talking about, like someone had mentioned stuff about Star Wars, how to fix it. And I'm just thinking, like, make your own Star Wars. That's how you fix Star Wars.
That is how you fix it.
All of them. Just don't worry about that crap that's been already done to death and then is not even owned by the people who made it anymore, and they have nothing to do with it. And in some cases they don't want them to do anything with it. And start making your own.
Right.
I do hope the MCU makes Claremont. I really hope they go close to Claremont stuff, because we've really never gotten that. Like, even the animated show was cool.
It'd be nice, but I don't have any faith in it.
Yeah, it's a hope I have, though. If I could see that live action, some of his stories, man.
Yeah,
whenever they try to, it's like they just, it's horrible.
The Dark Phoenix has been...
part of it is just like, you know what? I'll watch my the X-Men animated series if I want to get as close to that as possible, and that's about it, because everything else has been, either like, okay, it's been fine, or sometimes it's been abysmal. And nowadays,
more often than not abysmal.
Yeah, nowadays it's a lot of like, oh, look at the spectacle of it all, the effects and this and that. And I'm like, well, even the effects, I mean, like, I'm staring at a video game most of the time is what it looks like, This isn't Jim Henson Creature Shop anymore. This is, you put on like Labyrinth or something like that, or Dark Crystal, and you're looking at that stuff and going like, how the hell did they do that?
Yeah,
those puppets. Like those things look like living, breathing creatures. And nowadays they get like the CGI and all that, and you're like, oh, it's a computer.
I think that's
you just look at it and immediately look at it.
I think that's why Lord of the Rings did so well. They did so many things practical.
A nice blending of it. Use the CGI to enhance. It's the same thing with like Yoda. Yoda is an unbelievably moving character in Empire. And when he dies, it's like, this little dude's dying. Shit.
Yeah.
And it hits you. But then you see Yoda, and he's like doing like backflips and somersaults, and he's like, hello, I'm Yoda. And he's running around like little CGI guy. It's like,
he's like a little bowling ball. Yeah. And
it's crazy.
Episode 2, he's all over the place.
I get it. He did up, down, down, A, B, start, that kind of crap.
That's fantastic.
I love the practicality, love the heart of all that kind of stuff, and the human element. The further we get away from the human element,
you can tell,
the worse it gets. Yeah.
Arrogant Ape says Dark Crystal is beautiful. I agree, man.
I didn't watch it at all. Is it really that good on Netflix?
I like it. I mean, it's a lot of nostalgia for me, but I still love it.
Oh, are you talking? I'm talking about the original movie.
Yeah, the
you
old.
You gotta check
out
the original. Yeah, from the 80s.
Wait a minute.
That's what I'm talking about too.
Yeah.
You're not talking. I thought Dark Crystal was a new thing.
No.
Because there's a Tom Cruise movie, whatever that's called. Because that's practical effect. Legend?
This is not Dark. No, that's not Dark Crystal with him.
What's Dark Crystal then? The original. What is it?
It's Jim Henson, and it's got the Skeksis. They kind of look like vultures. They're like real tall, and they have like humpbacks, and they're very practical effects. I mean, it's a bunch of puppets.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Yeah,
it's awesome,
story.
man. Yeah, it's fantasy. It's a great story.
Does the Netflix one suck that they just did?
I don't think it hit. I don't think people really liked it. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either. So.
Oh, speaking of Crazy Matt says Tom Cruise is Legend.
Legend.
Are you talking about Legend?
Legend.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just
that's
to
a
say
fantasy
Legend.
movie.
Yeah.
But
and that's great too. Practical
real.
effects.
Yeah.
Tim Curry in that darkness suit. You know, oh my lord.
Yeah.
Yeah, the creatures in there are scary as hell.
Yeah.
That lady in the water, that
like
witch
that,
thing, my God.
Right. So Arrogant Ape says, never quite thought of it like that, but you're absolutely right. We lose the magic of movies when every trick is performed by a contractor at a Mac.
Yeah. You know, give me puppeteers on something. And there's people that nowadays that can do incredible things with it. But for some reason, Hollywood doesn't really see it that way anymore.
It's Dark Crystal, it ignited your imagination because some of the creatures in there were so new. They were so original. And like the white beings that they rode, they had those long. It was really these guys.
Are there humans in it or no?
No, they're little gelflings, is what they call them. They look like little elves.
So like Fraggle Rock, kind of, or no?
No, they're bigger than that. But they ride on these white things with these long legs, and it's these guys on these stilts. But the way they make them look, it's awesome looking, and it's these new looking creatures. So the creativity in that story is just fantastic, and I think it made a bunch of kids our age when we first saw that.
I think so. Yeah.
I think it ignited our imagination, which was great. And
I mean,
it was
even
scary
something too. Even when you get into things like Return to Oz with Little Feruza Balk, actually, but you get all these crazy creatures being made in that, and all these different things, and you find out how they did it. And I mean, like that TikTok guy was like a gymnast dude standing on his hands the whole time to play that character.
Oh, that's nuts.
You know, and you get all of these, but it's like all this human element that's in it, and it's all these practical effects, these suits, these puppets, every single thing, and it made this magic come to life. Nowadays, when it turns into it's CGI, it's this. Look at the effects. Look at I look at it and I go, look at the nice mannequin people running around with like the big computer effect of like some video game, like I just beat the final boss. You know, it's like, okay, that's nice, but it loses that awe-inspiring. How the hell did they do that? Of just you created this thing, and I can't even something as simple as Yoda's on the back of Luke and he's doing these things, and he's it's you look at that and you're like, that's like a little dude, that's a little alien dude with that guy. When you look at him later on and he's CGI'd and he's got like this plasticine kind of look to him and everything, and he just kind of everything's over animated. All his hair is like wispy and everything is like floating in the wind half the time. Some wind on the ship, I guess. It's just very like it loses. There's something heartless about it.
Now some movies, I mean, I like to see the CGI, of course, but I think you're right. There is a lot to be said about the
even Jurassic Park. It's not all CGI. If they do something with a raptor up close, it's like a practical. Like they've made, like when she like in the first one, when she's on, I think it's a Triceratops because it like ate something and it's sick, and she puts her head on it. Like that whole thing is made. None of that is CGI at all. They actually made that.
That's another good example of using both the CGI and the practical. But the CGI, when it was used to enhance the practical, was really good. Once it became, and you'll see it all the time, and it's so depressing, at least to me, when you see the actor and they're all just like in a big green screen room. And it's just like, look how cool this is. I'm like, look how cool this is. This is horrible.
seriously, when you think too, because you'd want to be on set, like,
well, you know,
that's kind of awesome. Like when you think of movies that have sets.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you know, Mandalorian and Boba Fett were both filmed in those round green rooms. Like it was a green screen room.
I know Avatar's that. Avatar's
I think even the acting performances show, you know, they don't bring about, because it's not that human to human kind of thing. It's not like that visual of like you're getting, you know, awestruck with what you're seeing because you're in it. It's literally like you're trying to pretend to be awestruck by what you're pretending to see. You know, everything is like these layers of pretend, to the point that it's just, you know, if they weren't getting paid the money they were getting paid, they'd probably just be like, this is insane. I'm just walking away.
Oh, arrogant ape. I hate that when people say stuff about movies.
When the Raptors,
I'm going to notice that next time.
Right. He goes, when the Raptor's coming through the kitchen door and looking around, you can see a dude's hand on its ass. Not even kidding. I can't unsee it now.
But the best is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Oh, with his eyes in the mouth.
When you can see, inside of Donatello's
It's freaky as hell. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But again, though, the best Ninja Turtles movie. They can CGI the crap out of those turtles. You look at the turtles in the Ninja Turtles movie in like 1990 or whatever that was, and it's miles apart. Doesn't compare.
Oh yeah, they look real. They look really real. Yeah.
Yeah. So, wait, crazy. Oh wait, I'm missing one. Mando's has sets that move with the characters. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, I mean, I like that they have this technology. They can do some really cool things, but I feel like they've really gone to that in almost every setting, and it does take a little bit away.
Yeah, like the Pirates of the Caribbean, they're on a ship and they're surrounded by water. Like if you ever see them making behind the scenes, or like Inception, when they're doing stuff in that movie, they were on set. Like when they're in the hotel and it keeps moving and stuff, they were in a thing like that. Like,
well, I mean, nowadays, if we were talking about the original Star Wars getting filmed, you'd be seeing Vader every 10 minutes talking with no mask on. You know, that's just the way Hollywood is too now. Even
do you think it's more of the actors though, where they're like, I think
it's a bit of both, because I think they want to have like this humanized branding. And it's not the character that sells it. You could see that clearly on the posters for a lot of the movies and stuff. You know, Spider stands there and he's got his mask off. It's like, you know, what are you doing? Put your stupid mask on, you idiot. Everyone's gonna know you're Spider-Man. You know, that kind of thing.
I know.
So it feels.
No, you're right, because Iron Man. You see Tony Stark, even Black Panther, he doesn't have his Black Panther.
Yeah, the more that they go into what's considered like this modernized movie making, this Disney era, all the things that just kind of like are standing there and they got like their heads out and it's just like, okay, I don't know who that is. But all I could think of is like this the poster for Superman, the first one with Christopher Reeve, and it's just like the S in the clouds with the swoop. And then you're talking about Batman 1989, it's the symbol. You know, they knew it was like these were the things that sold the film, the characters. Man. You know, now it's like it's the actor. It's the actor.
Well, and Terminator was a metal T too.
What was the tagline for Superman's movie?
Yeah, you'll believe a man can fly.
You'll believe a man can fly. That's it. That's what it is, and it's all practical.
What was Batman's?
I don't know.
Because you're right, they used to always have tags. Yeah, they didn't have a tag. Because you're right, they
for
used
Batman
to have
Returns,
tags.
It was the bat, the cat, and the penguin.
Yeah.
You know, but even then, it was Batman in his mask. It was Catwoman in hers. It was the Penguin made up.
You're right.
It wasn't just like, you know, Batman's got no mask and Michelle Pfeiffer standing there too. And you know, it's like, it just I don't know how anyone can have that suspension of disbelief when right off the poster, it even looks like they just don't care. It's like the comic books, like I was talking about before, that some of them seem kind of embarrassed to be comic books.
Yeah.
You know, that they just you look at them and you're like, I don't know if this is if you didn't know what it was, you're like, I don't know if it's a magazine, if it's a comic, if it's a poster, if it's a pinup, if it's a trading card. I don't know what the hell it is. You know, it might have a character on it, but I really don't know what it is. Especially when they do the whole Virgin cover thing and they take off all the elements of it, and it's literally just like almost a poster as a cover. And some people like that stuff, but I think that they would like it just as much if it was actually just an option to buy a print or a poster or have a trading card set with this great art on it, you know. As far as a comic, let it be a comic. But yeah, you know, here we are with that. So I'm trying to do these things instead of just being like, you know, I'm upset about how these things are. I don't care how they're doing it. Let them do it. If anything, I see it and I'm like, good, do more of that. Because the more you do that, the more people are like, oh, you know, I miss comics being comics. Where are some? and then they'll find the comics that are comics. But there's I feel like there's so many things nowadays with entertainment, and I mean the world at large with stuff like that. But the more we remove the human element from things, the sadder it gets. I really feel like you put a little bit of that energy from that human being who worked on it, and it touches and brings a heart to that film, something you can't explain. There's that missing link, and sometimes it's not quantifiable, but I think we certainly can look at it and go, yeah, the ones where more people were involved and they had a hand in it, there's something to it, as opposed to the ones where someone was just behind a computer and they were doing the clickety clack and then they made the thing. It's very different.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's great, man. Well, I can't wait to get my hands on King Cryptid. I will tell you what. It did get me excited. The more art I saw of it, I was like, oh man, I think I'm going to have to back this book. So
where are you launching at? Are you doing it on your show or someone else's?
I'll do it on the probably the Alterna channel. I'll do it on the Alterna channel, 9:00. We'll have a launch at May 25th. And then
That's awesome.
Be on a bunch of shows. If you guys want to have me back, I'll come back.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Anytime you want, man.
I'm not talking too much about it. I have to talk so much about it, but I'm not talking there's so much to talk about. So it's like if you guys do want to have me come back, there's even more to talk about that I'll talk about once the
Oh, that's great, man. I mean, to me, I don't think you can talk about it enough. I know when you're excited about it, especially. But I know people are wanting to talk more comic books right now. I saw where people are kind of wanting to do that. And, I think, was it Statistical Zero put that out there on Twitter or something? And a lot of
polls and stuff.
Yeah, he put out a poll and it said, what do you want to see more streams of? And it was mostly about comic book stuff. I'm like, yeah, why aren't we talking more about actual characters, actual, story elements? Not just our creative properties, but, get into the crux of the story and things like that. So,
like Claremont X-Men, which is the best written anything ever.
Yeah, ever. Big influence on me.
I don't think anything touches it. Like, I love Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, but I still think Claremont X-Men fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like if the MCU does it right, literally takes his stories, those movies will make $2 billion.
I don't want to break your heart, so I'm going to stay.
I know. No, Derek's always like, just remember, it's not the same. It's not, you know what I mean? So
if you get me Chris Claremont writing that script, I'll have a little bit more faith.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
But they'll never do that. Isn't that funny? No. You get all these amazing comic writers and they never get them to write a damn movie.
That's
nuts. Goodness. It's the same thing if they don't get any of these amazing comic artists to make a comic artist movie, a comic poster for the movie.
I agree.
Yeah, that is crazy now that you say that. I've never thought of it that way. You're right.
Yep.
Like there's
a lot of great art out there too. So you think they would want to sell that.
Even if they want to stay relatively safe within the mainstream parameters and get like Alex Ross, he's pretty mainstream safe and does beautiful work and could do a beautiful comic movie poster, but they never really
Oh, yes, he could.
Nope, they don't. And how awesome would it be to see it?
That would be,
yeah. He could have been the Drew Struzan of comic book movies.
Yeah.
Instead. And think about how iconic those are.
Oh, yeah, man.
But yeah,
love his work.
Different time.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for coming on, man.
Yes.
We appreciate you coming and talking to us.
Thanks for having me.
We're excited about your King Cryptid story coming out. Once again, sign up on Indiegogo. It's down below. I got it there. King Cryptid launching on May 25th on Indiegogo.com. So be on the lookout. And Pete, you want to tell us where to follow you? I'm sure most of us know, but go ahead and put it out there.
You can follow me on Twitter at Peter Simeti, and then I'm on Instagram too at Peter Simeti Art. But I'm not on Facebook. I used to be on there, not on there anymore.
There's no point in being on it.
Yeah, that's what I found too. And then it's almost the same with Twitter, but I was like, on Twitter, I have a lot more people that I interact with. So I'll stay there.
Yeah, it's community on Twitter, yeah.
But other than that, go to alternacomics.com, sign up for our newsletter, get a 10% off coupon of already the most affordably priced comics in the entire planet. You can save an extra 10% on that. All of our comics, for those that don't know, print on newsprint. with glossy covers like they used to be, and about $1.99 a piece. Right now we got the spring campaign, we got the winter campaign closing down soon. It's going to be down May 15th. I'm going to be actually, as soon as I get off the show right now, I'm going to be packing up, finishing up that. And the spring campaign is in demand right now, and the King Cryptid campaign launches May 25th. So make sure to sign up for that. Get access to a secret perk full of exclusives that will not be available on the public face of the campaign. And then also you get a bonus once we reach 500 signups, which I hope we can. We're very close. We're close enough where we got enough time we could do it. And then you get that 11x17 exclusive bonus poster made by Keir Covington, who also will be doing King Cryptid number 4.
Okay. Crazy Mad.
He had to get one in, right?
I know
this has been a pretty good. I really haven't gotten it this week.
I'll give it to him.
It's been very nice.
So, come back next week, Jefferson. They do well most of the time when Murph doesn't have to think about things. But don't. I got to say, I really love when Crazy Mad gets you there, Murph. I really love it. Their hotel is key to the SW universe. Okay,
that's
so
blown up in their face, hasn't it? That hotel.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So, Murph, go ahead and tell everybody about our stuff.
Which stuff? Where to find us, or our book?
Well, yeah, what stuff? Oh, I don't know about our stuff. Right?
Well, yeah, we're going an hour 46. So just
come on, man.
Ballad of the Celestials is still on Indiegogo right now. It's in demand. We're still trying to get to the second perk. You can find us here on our Twitter accounts. D-Rocks, his is weird looking, so you probably have to take a picture of it.
It's right there.
And then mine is KJ Murphy, 518, and we're here every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. So make sure you subscribe, like, give us a shout out on Twitter.
All right. Hey, guys, we'll see you next week. Take care. See you soon.
Have a good night.
Take it easy.